If you have started your electrolysis journey or you've been doing it for quite some time and you're feeling discouraged, this video is for you. I personally get electrolysis done and I do it on customers as well. I am trained in it, so I'm going to give you advice from, like, personal advice from experience and also professional advice. Something that I personally have experienced in my journey, and a lot of other people have this problem as well, is where they lose their patience. You really need to keep calm, carry on and push through it, okay? This is a very long journey. You're going to have ups and downs. You're going to have certain concerns. You're going to feel like giving up sometimes. You're going to feel upset, angry. There were times where in my journey I felt sorry for myself and I felt angry at my body, at my imbalanced hormones and at my genetics and at the mistakes that I've made previous to electrolysis. You're going to go through all sorts of emotions, but what you need to do is you need to keep calm, you need to carry on, push past it, because if you pass this hurdle, however many times it comes up, if you pass this barrier, you're going to thank yourself in 1 to 3 years time. Well, for some people it can take a little bit longer, but you are going to thank yourself in a few years time for not giving up. You're going to be where I am right now, where I am thanking myself for being patient with it, for sticking to this journey. And now I only need a few top-up sessions because of my imbalanced hormones. I just need a few top-up sessions a year and that's it. But if I did give up on electrolysis, I would have been tweezing every few days. I would have been waxing every week for the rest of my life. And that's one thing that people don't understand. And it's something that I didn't understand either. When I first noticed the hair on my chin, there was a little bit here, a little bit here. I was tweezing them and I was fine. And then someone made fun of it, and then I ended up waxing this area. It came back 10 million times worse, and I kept waxing, tweezing until I discovered electrolysis. I stuck to electrolysis for 1.5 years and then I lost my patience with it. I wasn't educated enough, and that's why I make these videos, share the knowledge that I've got from personal experience and from a professional background as well. I did electrolysis for 1.5 years and then I was told that it's not going to be permanent for me because of my unbalanced hormones. I then thought, well, I don't want to do electrolysis then, I'm going to try laser. The thing that I didn't think of is if my hormones aren't balanced, no form of hair removal is going to be permanent anyway. If I'm not taking medication, well, at the time I was taking the pill but it didn't seem to do anything. If I'm not taking medication, if I'm not doing anything from the inside to balance my hormones, it's always going to produce a hair. So it doesn't matter what I use, it's not going to be permanent. But the important thing is, when I look at everything that I've tried, because I tried laser and it made things 10 million times worse. I went from doing a 10-minute electrolysis session here, once a month maybe, to a half-an-hour electrolysis session after I tried laser. It stimulated a lot of hair growth. Laser works for some people, but unfortunately I was the person who was unlucky, and if it didn't work it would have been fine. I would have just gone back to having 10-minute electrolysis sessions again, but the thing is it made things 10 million times worse and I had a lot more hair to get rid of, so I had to have half-an-hour electrolysis sessions after that. When you look at the comment sections in my laser electrolysis videos where I tell the story, everyone's like, the same thing happened to me, I tried laser, the same thing happened to me. Like, it's so common. Now that I've pretty much tried every hair removal method out there, electrolysis is the best, especially for facial hair, especially for the type of hair that I have. I had this big poster that I put on the shop window of a before and after picture of electrolysis and the dates as well. I'll put it on the screen. And when I showed customers this before and after picture, they were impressed until they saw the dates and they saw that it was a year's worth of treatment. Now, everyone's body, everyone's situation is different. Even though I recommend customers to have electrolysis done regularly at the start of their journey, so you need to have it around every 2 weeks at the start, and then eventually you won't need it that often anyway. But this client in particular, because of her lifestyle, she wasn't able to have treatments every 2 weeks. She had it every 3 months. Every 3 months, and she still saw good results. Now, if she did have treatments a lot regular than that, the hair could have possibly been gone by then. Even by doing treatments every 3 months, this is the situation. And some people look at that and think, oh my god, a year, like that's such a long time, and the hair hasn't even completely like permanently gone yet. They think, oh, I don't want to do that for a year. Would you rather do that, or would you rather tweeze or wax the hair in the area every 1 to 4 weeks, depending on the area that you get done? Or would you rather commit to an electrolysis journey which takes a few years, but eventually the hair will be permanently gone if you don't have a hormone imbalance? Or you'll be where I am, where I just need top-up sessions a few times a year. I only need to remove the hair a few times a year. Don't give up on it. You will be thanking yourself later. You need to remember that the electrologist, the beauty therapist, is trying to destroy something that is naturally being produced by the body. Each hair needs a few treatments. Each hair needs to be destroyed a few times, and then it will stop growing back. Another thing to consider is in one area we have hundreds and hundreds of hair follicles. Some have a hair in it and some don't. Some are in the anagen phase, some are in the telogen phase, which is, anagen is where it's actively growing, telogen is when it's starting to grow to the surface of the skin, and then eventually it's going to shed, just like what happens to our hair and eyelashes, the hair on our body. Eventually it sheds and then a new hair grows out of it when it's stimulated. I could have all of these hairs treated right now, but in this area there are follicles that don't have a hair in it. You can only do electrolysis where the hair is. I don't know what follicle has a hair in it and what doesn't. You can only see the follicle when the hair is growing out of it. So you need to keep that in mind. Keep that hair growth cycle in mind. I've got a video of the hair growth cycle if you want even more detail, but I've pretty much just summarized it for you here. You need to consider what hair removal methods you've used beforehand. I did tweezing, I did a bit of waxing, I did laser, that didn't work for me, and all of this stimulated the hair, and it took a very, very, very long time to reverse that. For me, after I tried all of that, it took 3 years. I'm going to put my picture up here. It took 3 years to remove the bulk of hair. All of that hair that was stimulated, it took 3 years to remove it. You need to consider your medical background, any hormone imbalances that you have, where you're from, your genetics. That's why it takes so long. But if you stick to it, you're gonna thank yourself later, I promise. The next thing that I'm going to talk about is a big concern for everyone, and it's, well, the majority of people. It's how their skin reacts after electrolysis. So there are these temporary side effects. You're gonna get redness, you might get some swelling, you might possibly get scabbing, you might get no scabbing, mild scabbing, severe scabbing. Your skin is gonna go through certain reactions. Again, you need to remember that we are trying to remove something that is naturally being produced from the body. We are using an electrical current to create heat to destroy this hair, the root of the hair. So your skin is going to react, but it's a big concern that a lot of people have. My skin, right, it went through hell. Okay, I went through a lot of redness, I had a lot of scabbing. Because my pain tolerance is high, a lot of people that I've been to get electrolysis done, they tend to use the higher settings on me because I can tolerate it. As a beauty therapist who worked in a salon and I was providing facials and I'm giving skincare advice, it was not easy for me to do when my skin looked like that. Now, when my skin was red, that would go down within a few hours. If I got scabbing, if it was mild, it would go down quite quickly. It would heal within a week. If it was severe, it would take around 2 weeks to heal. I would apply makeup on it. I would apply all the AFTERCARE products on it to help heal quicker. My skin, it doesn't heal very quickly. It heals quite slowly, especially as I'm getting older. I'm 28 now. As I'm getting older, I've noticed that my skin is definitely healing a lot slower. So I was suffering with these temporary side effects after electrolysis quite a lot. There were times where I didn't even care. Like, again, I had good days, I had bad days. I had good days where I was like, well, I know what's going on here. I know why my skin looks like this. I know that it's temporary. You know, I'm doing it for a reason. The hair is gonna eventually go away. My skin isn't gonna react like this all the time. Again, you just need to push past it and carry on. At the start of my journey, and the lady that I was going to quite a few years back where a high setting was being used on me, it was a bit difficult because when I was getting quite severe scabbing and it was taking 2 weeks for my skin to heal, because I was having treatments every 2 weeks, I would never get a break from that. So even though it is temporary, it didn't feel temporary for me because I was getting electrolysis done, and then the next day I would scab, and then after 2 weeks the scabs would go, but then I was ready for my next electrolysis session. So then I would scab again. So this went on for about a year. But eventually I didn't need sessions done every 2 weeks. I started to see results. So then it was every 3 weeks and then every 4 weeks, and my skin had longer time to heal and I was enjoying the clear skin again. Yeah, my skin is completely healed. I only get top-up sessions a few times a year, and it might go a little bit red. I might get a little bit of scabbing sometimes depending on who does it and what settings they use, but it's all healed and my skin looks great, if I do say so myself. I'm personally happy. I don't have any dark marks left behind. If you do see anything on my skin, it's from breakouts. I do have polycystic ovary syndrome. I get hormonal acne. I have loads of intolerances and I get breakouts because of that. Yeah, so if you see anything on my skin from any of my previous videos, it's not from electrolysis. The only thing that I personally experienced was pigmentation, hypopigmentation. So I've got these lighter marks where the skin was damaged, and that was because of me. So when I used to get severe scabbing, I feel itchy and I would scratch the scab off when the skin underneath hasn't healed yet, and I've damaged my skin. The skin has melanin, it produces melanin. Where I've damaged the skin, it's not producing melanin, and that's why it's white. In the summer, when I get a tan, you can notice it a little bit more. Right now, it doesn't really bother me. I'm not really tanned right now. This is my natural skin tone. And yeah, I'm not bothered by it at all. But I make loads of videos. I always tell my customers, if you do experience scabbing, don't pick the scabs off, don't itch it. Apply the aftercare product to help soothe the skin. The itching happens because histamine is going to the area, the body sends histamine to the area to help it heal, and that's what you're feeling, that itching. So if you are feeling discouraged or you have concerns because you're like, oh, I don't want to get pigmentation, I don't want to get scarring, unfortunately they are the two risks, permanent risks that could possibly happen. But if the electrologist is doing their job, if you're doing your job by following the aftercare advice, then it's a very, very small risk. I've got a video on aftercare advice for electrolysis if you want to watch that. I personally would rather have this pigmentation, which is barely noticeable, than having the hair. At the end of the day, it is your choice. When I do a consultation with my clients, you have to have a consultation first. I show them a picture of what electrolysis, scarring and pigmentation looks like, and then they can go home and think about it if they do want to take that risk or not. Not a lot of places do that. I would rather tell you what risks there are, because you might see that picture and think, nah, I don't want to risk it. Personally, as I said, I'd rather have the hair gone and have, well, if I took care of my skin, I wouldn't have had this hyperpigmentation. I still couldn't care less. I'm happy. The hair's gone. I just need little top-up sessions a few times a year. I'm very happy with it. Another concern that a lot of people have is when they're in the middle of their journey and they're not sure if it's working. So let's just say you've been having treatments for a year and you haven't seen any results. This is concerning, to be honest. You should have definitely seen a difference after a year. If this is the case, email me, tell me your story, and I'll give you advice and tell you what I believe it could be. I need to ask you questions and sort of figure out why you haven't seen results yet. Generally, there are some people who get electrolysis done for about 3 months and they're like, oh, I haven't seen results yet, I don't think it's working for me. In that case, it is still soon. Some people see a difference after 3 months, but some people don't, and they see a difference after 6 months. You're not going to see a difference straight away. It's not a miracle. It is going to take time. But if it has been quite a long time and you've had loads and loads of sessions, let me know and I'll give you my advice on that. Another concern that some people have is whether the machine is good enough. Now, I've only been doing electrolysis on customers for 3 years. I don't have a huge amount of experience when it comes to machines. I have used a few, and I've had a few done on me personally, where I've gone to different salons and they've used different machines on me. But one piece of advice that I can give you is the machine shouldn't be your priority. Because if the machine is good, but the beauty therapist who's doing your treatment is shit, it's going to be an ineffective treatment. If the beauty therapist is good, it is going to be an effective treatment. So a lot of people are like, well, is that machine good enough? Is it strong enough? That machine needs to produce an electrical current to cause heat. That's all that machine needs to do. But the beauty therapist, the electrologist who's doing your treatment, they need to use this teeny tiny little needle, put it into the hair very carefully, and then they need to release this electrical current to create the heat. They need to know what settings to use. They need to slide the needle out and then remove the hair. There's a lot more that goes on for the beauty therapist side than the machine. Again, I don't have a huge amount of experience when it comes to machines, but from my personal experience, the beauty therapist doing your treatment, their skill is definitely a lot more important. It's like having, if you have the latest phone, the most expensive phone, but your service provider is shit, what's the point of having the expensive phone if it doesn't work properly? If you find someone who has the skill and a good machine, then that's a bonus. Definitely a bonus. One thing that I always say, if you can feel the hair pluck out of your skin, that hair was not destroyed properly. If it happens once or twice during your treatment, fine, they did it by accident. But if you can feel tweezing throughout your whole treatment, I'm sorry, but that treatment was not done properly. Okay, they've just tweezed the hairs out without destroying the hairs properly. You're paying a certain amount for this service. You could have paid £5 for a chin wax rather than £40 for electrolysis for this permanent treatment that you're paying for. If you feel plucking on every hair, switch to someone else, sort of compare the sensation, but you should be feeling the electrical current, but you shouldn't be feeling the hair coming out of your skin. When the hair is destroyed, it just slides out like butter. Tugging is fine. I sort of hold the hair with tweezers, I slightly pull on it. If I see resistance, I can see that it's still attached, I let go and I go back into the hair and destroy it properly. I feel like my videos have helped a lot of people. I get quite a lot of messages. If you're one of those people who have sent me a message, thank you so much. It does make me feel like I'm helping people and I'm doing something good. So it's nice to know that at least it's helping a lot of people. I feel like people watch my journey and some people get really excited and they think, oh my god, yes, I'm gonna start this journey, I'm gonna get electrolysis done and all of this hair is gonna go, and then they start their journey and they don't realise that it could be painful, they don't realise how much it's going to be costing, because it's kind of like a pay-as-you-go thing. Who knows how long you're going to be getting treatments done for, and it sort of adds up, and that's when people feel discouraged. I don't want my journey to make people feel discouraged. It wasn't a quick thing for me. You probably watch my 10-minute video where I talk about how happy I am with my electrolysis journey, but in real life it wasn't 10 minutes, it was 3 long years, okay? Very, very long years, so keep that in mind. But yeah, I hope that this video has got you back on track. Thank you so much for watching and I hope to see you again.